Alright guys, it's Monday, Labor Day. JZX is on the floor, but it's not what you think. It's not ready to run yet. Actually, I was just looking at it, and there's really not too much to do. I could actually probably start it. You gotta hook up the power steering lines. I'm still debating on what I want to do for power steering, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this. Honestly, this is gonna get done. I don't want to rush it. But we're gonna bring this guy in so we can do the Hicas stuff. But my garage is tore up right now, like tore up. I really just want to get the garage cleaned. This thing has been down for so long and blocking the garage that I think I could pull it out, put a cover on it for now, like a week or two, and then we'll get back to this. We'll push it back in the garage. And Crow's over there running good enough. But yeah, I got her back on the floor. That's kind of exciting. Obviously, there's no battery, so this won't start. But I need that to unlock the steering column. Damn, this thing's closer than I actually thought it was. But yeah, getting progress, guys. All right, so we're gonna pull in the Skyline, and then I want to go, like, I think this is the boost gauge hose. Holy shit. I heard it whistling, and I was like, what the hell is that? So I kind of went and pulled on it real quick, so I'm gonna have to swap out these hoses. It's pulling vacuum for the gauge. All right, well, whatever. I'm gonna pull this thing in. I gotta let it run for a minute because the battery was dead. Man, it's fucking hot in there too. Anybody know anybody who can spray my roof with clear? I'll probably do that while the garage is empty. I got the Mark II outside. You see all that white stuff? That's the stuff to get oil out of your concrete. Yeah, fucking. That's all power steering fluid. Really disappointed. Oh god, it's hot. Ah, it's hot in here. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. Let's move to the desert, my wife says. Okay. Pulling the Skyline into the garage for the first time. It's pretty exciting. I don't know how long this car is, so. Okay. Let's turn it off. Alright, so it fits. There's plenty of space. I'll probably back it up a little bit. But yeah, Skyline's in the garage for the first time. Really butthurt about this. It looks like there's only a thin layer. It looks like, honestly, they're going to do what I was going to do. I'm probably going to cut it here. And then wet sand it, clear it, blend it. I don't know. I'm not a body man or a painter. I really don't know. But while it's in the garage, I'm going to put the front mount intercooler in, lower it, maybe, roll the fenders. Be a couple days. Mark II's outside, Corolla's outside, everything's outside. We're going to go and take the front bumper off. Anything associated with that, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to trim the bumper up. I do have a lip up there that was supposed to fit on this type of bumper. I don't know, but while the bumper's off, I'm going to try it out and see if it fits. I think I'm going to order a pod filter for this and take this out, even though that's kind of cool. I mean, if you get pulled over in this car anyways, you're fucked. So I figure might as well just go all out. While I'm in here, I'm going to change out these hoses. It explains a lot, I can tell you that much. I've been wondering a little bit about this car and what's going on with it. With this current boost and things like that. So we're going to start tearing this apart in the next few days. I really gotta fix my camera because I'm tired of recording on my phone, but here's what we're gonna be putting into the Skyline. We have a GK Tech Hicas Delete. So we're gonna put this in, and this is the bent version of the, I don't call it a control arm. First, we're gonna be talking about this GK Tech Hicas Delete bar. So this is the full kit. Basically, it goes into your car, I believe, like so. And then you have these bushings here that you have to remove the ball joints off of the lower control arm. But I have to have a special tool to do that, and I'm waiting on some parts to get that. So once those come in, we'll start doing that. Here's the hardware that comes with it, and here's the hardware so that way you can cap off the Hicas lines that go to the rear right by the differential. But I may not use this because I'm going to completely remove the Hicas system. So what you do is you have to pull the power steering pump off, and then from there you take out the fins that spin the fluid, that push the fluid. So we're going to be installing this. I got to wait for those extra pieces that I ordered so I can make the tool to take out the ball joints, because it's a pain in the butt. All right, next we have our Blitz intercooler kit for the RB20 DET HCR32, which this car is. And we're going to be installing this first. I pulled off the bumper already. Let's slowly open this. And why I ended up picking this up, it's not exactly the kit that I wanted, because you'll see why. So I got the intercooler piping removed. I ordered this apexy filter from TKGT. If you don't know, that's Trust Kikaku. That's their US base. Alright, so I haven't really done a very good job at filming what I started with the Skyline, but we got the intercooler, prepping the brackets. What I did notice from this point, I got the factory intercooler piping out, which is right there. The horn's got to be relocated. I don't even know if these are the OEM horns or where this came from, but they're coming off for now. The top mount for the intercooler goes here. These are gonna have to come off. I don't know where those are gonna go. Just gonna come off for now. And this is probably the ambient air temperature sensor that has to get relocated. You can pretty much put it anywhere. But after that, run the intercooler piping down here, around and up. It's gonna come up to here to your different this outlet here and that outlet there, or inlet outlet, sorry. And then before we get to that, since we're doing Hicas delete, I'm going to basically put the intercooler on, get to the point where everything's piped up to right here, and then I'm gonna start working on the Hicas delete. All right, so I got a little ADD and got distracted. If you notice the intercooler, isn't down on the floor anymore, it's because I put it on the car. So I wanted to test fit it, and I just ended up continuing to install it. So that's what the intercooler looks like. You know, honestly, that pipe how it goes down on the bottom, I used to hate that, but now that it's on the car, I don't really hate it as much. But I do understand that if I slam on something, that thing's a goner. All right, so when it comes to doing Hicas delete, which is this unit here, this is what everybody is basically you're locking this out. This is just like a secondary steering rack, and it's a piece of crap if it doesn't work right, and mine doesn't work right, so that's why I'm changing it. While I'm in here, I'm looking. Japan really did a good job at undercoating the body, probably afterwards. Anyhow, so this unit's gonna come off, and the biggest gripe that people have when they're doing this on R32, 33, and 34 is taking this out, because you gotta usually take this whole knuckle out. You gotta take this whole knuckle out and press this ball joint out. All right, so this is the first step of taking your Hicas unit out. Popped right off. So now we got to take this piece out. On the back side of this unit there is a snap ring, so we're gonna take that out. Sorry, the camera's upside down. There's a snap ring back there, so let's get that off. So now we got our DIY ball joint removal tool. It's basically a piece of pipe, 70mm bolt. There is a coupler inside, and we're gonna go ahead and take this off and see how it works. So I took it off just to show you guys. How much it's starting to pull it out. Basically this is pulling this way. But what I did notice that I used the washers are kind of thin, so I'm gonna go to plan B. And here's my plan B. This is a washer for a rear setup, just like this. Hopefully that's stronger than what I was using. Alright guys, just doing a quick update in between things. We got the Hicas unit out. I got Mikey A88YT helping me out. That's my son. He has a YouTube channel, Mikey A88YT. He does a bunch of gaming stuff and all the nerd fun stuff. But we got that out. He pressed in the rear bushings. I pulled out the ball joints. He pressed in the rear bushings. And now we're gonna take a break for lunch and then reinstall the Hicas Delete unit as soon as we're done eating. But I kind of want to match it up to make sure the lengths are all the same, so that way I don't have to do any kind of alignment. Alright, so if you don't know, if you're just tuning in and you don't know what Hicas is the rear steering that usually Skylines and S13s have. And the problem with it, that this unit, I don't know if it was failing up here or in the rear or in the front, but this unit was failing, causing it to crab walk on the freeway. So I really didn't want to take the time to rebuild this whole system. I just decided to delete it. And it's also always typically removed if you plan to drift the car. I don't know that I actually plan to drift this, but drifting is not far from its future if I end up keeping the car. But this is a GK Tech rear Hicas Delete, and I'm lining it up now so that way I don't have to do too much of an alignment if you can get them lined up correctly. Now I don't know if these face down or face up. So that's something I'm figuring out right now. Once I get that figured out, we'll get it lined up and then put back in the car. And then once we get back into the car, we're gonna go ahead and lower this thing because it's a monster truck. And you can see right there, it's like a 4-finger gap right there. Even though it's on the jacks, that's kind of how it sits anyways. But we'll get this thing all lined up, ready to go. Make her look nice. Get her back on the road, hopefully by today. My goal is to fully remove the Hicas unit. That requires me taking off the power steering pump, which I put all the piping back for the intercooler, but I can take it off pretty easy now that it's been taken apart. We'll get the engine bay all cleaned up. Then I gotta trim the bumper for the intercooler, so I bought some saw blades for that today. Gotta kind of line it up, see what we're gonna trim out. Then this car should be back together. So it can sit some more. But that'll put the Skyline, once all that's done, that'll put the Skyline to the point where I can stop working on this, enjoy driving it. Actually, I want to put a new radio on there. And then we can get back to this because the Corolla is running enough. I took it out today. Corolla is running enough where I can take it out and enjoy it for the rest of the season until it becomes winter. And we build up some more funds so we can get that thing put into the paint shop. But JZX 100, you're almost ready to be worked on again. So it got to the point where let's get this project knocked out, get the Corolla running. Actually, I forgot, I want to work on the wagon before I work on that. Alright, so I got the Hicas Delete in and installed. I will go over it tomorrow a little bit with better lighting. But now I am going to do some ride height adjustment. As you can see, they probably raised this up to bring it here from the ports. But if you can see, these are Cusco coilovers, by the way. Back in my day, Cusco coilovers were expensive. I don't know what the price is now and the quality, but those look pretty fucked up. So I'm going to attempt to, I already brushed them off with a wire brush. I'm gonna brush it a little bit more, then I'm gonna hit it with some WD-40 and see if that helps take out some of that rust. That way when I lower it down, it doesn't get caught. All right, let's do this. All right, and life wouldn't be the same if I did not have rusted coilovers. So I'm gonna let those soak, but I do want to take the car and put it off the jacks for now. I'm not gonna act shocked or surprised what I find in this car when I pull the radio out, because I already know. Alright, so I figured while I'm in here, I'm going to disconnect all the weird JDM stuff or Japanese stuff. So they have all, well, this car's not actually that bad in the spectrum of cars I've seen and worked on. When you're undoing the mystery of Japan's car audio wiring, there's quite a few things in here that I can't still figure out. But I bet you this harness here got a bunch of just random harnesses and things, and I have a feeling that this harness was for a turbo timer, based on this here. It's going to the ignition and all that stuff, but I'm gonna, and then this one's probably for the ETC card reader. Actually, let's find out. Take that out. We're gonna put that back in. We're gonna plug you in, see what the lady says. ETC card reader. Yep, that's her. I like that feature. I'm gonna leave that in there. I'm not even gonna mess with it. Just leave it as it is. But we're gonna continue to clean up this debauchery of wiring. And as I mentioned to you guys before, I was formerly a car audio installer in the early 2000s, and I've seen worse from Americans, so I can't just completely blame Japan. But Japan, you're really up there with some shitty ass wiring. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, completely having one of those while we're in here moments. Funny because they had crossover speakers in this car, and what in the fucking world? Japan, do better. I'm telling you, bro, there's some weird ass shit in this car. So I am going to have this car in the garage. What I've been doing recently is I've been using a battery tender for all my cars when they're in the garage, and then since I'm rotating cars, it gives the car an opportunity to get the battery to get refreshed, recharged, and stay charged. Because I don't, as you guys can probably tell already, I don't get to drive my cars a lot, and something that I'm always doing is jump starting them, and it's not really good on the battery or the charging system, especially with these rare JDM cars where alternatives are probably not as plentiful as a USDM car. But see, the battery's pretty good, but I'm gonna leave it on the tender so that way I can get in the car tomorrow worry free and start this thing up. But it's pretty exciting. Alright, so what we're doing now is we're gonna roll the fenders on the Skyline. I already started it. What you gotta do is you gotta heat this guy up so that the paint right here, once you get to that crease, doesn't start chipping. It makes the paint more flexible. So we're gonna roll from about here to about here. And when I say roll, I'm basically taking a body dolly and I'm wrapping it in a microfiber cloth. I'm just slowly working the metal back like that. So I have fender rollers right there. I usually use those to start it. What I did notice on the Skyline, the arch isn't a complete arch. It comes up this way, flattens out, and comes out this way. So the fender roller, when it was going, it was like not reaching this area. And I really don't like fender rollers because once you start to use them, they start to pull the fender out this way. When you're trying to do a pull, that's fine. I want to do a flat roll. Basically, just get it tucked in so that the wheel can clear and sit. The car's not slammed. The wheels are a little bit, or the tires are a little bit too wide for this setup, so I'm kind of just, this is something I'm gonna have to do either way. But trick is to take your time. That way you don't get bacon fenders, number one. That's a contributor to bacon fenders when you see shitty looking fenders. Somebody who doesn't know how to use one of those. When you see good looking fenders, I can show you on one of my other cars. Like my Corolla, the fenders are mint. And I took my time. If you ever seen my IS300, fenders were mint. If you look at my Instagram, when the car was still silver. But goal is to just get this flat all the way through. Take your time. So number one, don't go too close. You don't want to melt or burn the paint. Number two, do the section you're working, because you're not going to go to more than 3 inches at a time. If you're doing more than 3 inches at a time, you're probably working too fast, and that's how you're going to have not so good results. Also, something when you're rolling fenders, you got to make sure you clean the lip on the inside. That way there's rocks or debris. But something else I want to point out, I've had this happen where as you're rolling the fender, there's spot welds inside and you can start to see it. I don't feel like this is going to be a problem, but you really just got to keep watching the line over you're hitting it, so that way, what they call bacon fenders, when you look at it and it's all like wavy, it's like a piece of bacon, you really just got to take your time, watch your line, watch your arch. Again, I'm not a professional at rolling fenders, but I've done quite a few, and I've also messed up quite a few. That's why I decided I was starting to do this. I was like, you know what, let me start filming. That way, if someone who has questions or anything like that, what I like to do is, I've been doing this long enough where I don't have to go look at somebody's YouTube channel to figure out how to roll fenders. But you know, if somebody had questions, maybe this could help somebody. All right, so here's the stock fenders right here. You guys see these little bumps right here? These are making it difficult to roll it if you're gonna roll it flat. Because what you gotta remember is if you put it flat against the other side, it's gonna push out over here, you'll see it. I'm not going flat, I finished the other side, I'll show you guys in a minute. But I didn't really take a good video of what it looked like what I started with. Okay, so I already cleaned the inside lip. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start from here and move our way down. Actually, I like to start in the middle and work side to the side. Alright, so we are at the point now where the wheel's back on. This is the passenger side. There's the fender roll. It looks like it could go a little bit more here, but I don't see any reason for clearance. Most of the clearance problems would be like right here. So let's drop her down and see how she looks. Side was a little lower. You can tell where the tire sits. Side reads 62, so about 2 millimeters difference, but it's okay. I think we're gonna leave it for now because that side also has the driver. All right, so we finally got the final ride height on this thing, and I think it looks pretty good. Some would beg to differ. Obviously, how they would want it, some want it lower, some want it higher, but I think this is a good ride height for just a regular drive. Alright guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this video. In the next video, we're going to be doing some driving impressions on the upgrades that we just did to the R32 Skyline, along with doing some upgrades to the AE86 suspension, getting this car ready for the track. After that, that brings us into the timeline of working on the JZX100 and getting that finished up and ready for next season. If you guys enjoyed this content, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family. Peace out, guys.